Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through some of the noise of modern life, find some wisdom, maybe some practical insights. And today we're really diving into something that honestly shapes our inner lives, probably more than we even admit. It's this constant, just relentless flood of information. You know, the 21st century media landscape, just think about your day, the news alerts popping up, the endless scroll on social media, infinite streaming choices always there. It's a lot. More than a stream, it feels like a deluge sometimes.
It really does. A deluge is a good word for it.
And what's the real cost? I mean, the sources we looked at, they really seem to agree on this. This whole environment, it fosters a lot of anxiety, cynicism, division even. It can make you feel like you're just swimming against this tide of negativity. So if you've ever felt just discouraged or, heart-burdened, maybe just plain overwhelmed by all the stuff competing for your attention, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
It takes a toll, doesn't it? Spiritually, psychologically, leaves you feeling drained, maybe even disconnected.
Absolutely. That feeling of being stuck in a negative culture, that resonates, I think, with so many people right now. The impact, spiritually and psychologically, it's profound. But what's really fascinating and kind of hopeful is how ancient wisdom speaks so directly to this modern problem.
Right.
We're looking at the Apostle Paul writing in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. He says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things."
Think on these things.
Exactly. And it's crucial to understand this isn't Paul saying, just ignore the bad stuff or escape reality. It's not naive escapism.
No.
It's a call for something much more active, a deliberate, disciplined approach to what we actually let into our minds.
Okay.
It's about consciously curating our mental diet, our spiritual diet, intentionally choosing what edifies, what inspires, what aligns our thoughts with something higher.
Because it's intentional.
Very intentional. And that's what this deep dive is really about. It's meant to be a practical guide for putting this wisdom into practice. We're thinking about media curation as mental stewardship.
Mental stewardship. I like that.
Yeah, because the principle is simple but profound. What you feed your mind directly impacts your spiritual health, your emotional stability, and ultimately your capacity to experience that peace of God which passeth all understanding.
That peace.
Right. So we're going to walk through these 6 pillars Paul gives us: true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and praising. The goal is to help you shift media consumption from this passive, often draining habit.
Yeah, just letting it wash over you.
Exactly, into an active, life-giving spiritual discipline.
Okay, that's the mission then. Moving from overwhelmed to hopefully empowered. So let's unpack this. Where do we start?
We start at the foundation, pillar 1, dwelling on whatsoever things are true.
True. Okay. That sounds straightforward, but in today's world.
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? Understanding true today goes way beyond just fact versus fiction. Right. It's more complex.
It is. It includes factual accuracy, absolutely.
Yeah.
But also fairness, context, integrity. Does it align with reality itself? Our sources actually frame developing media literacy as like a core spiritual discipline for our time.
Wow. A spiritual discipline in itself.
Yeah. Seeking and cherishing truth today, it's almost a radical act.
So why is it so challenging now? More than before.
Well, think about the media ecosystem we live in. It's got pervasive political polarization, right?
Definitely.
Algorithms that are basically designed to reward outrage because it keeps us clicking.
The outrage machine.
Exactly. And just the sheer scale of misinformation, fake news being produced and spread, it's industrial.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a social problem or a political one. It's deeply spiritual, constantly being exposed to distortion, to lies. It breeds confusion, anxiety, division inside us.
Which is the opposite of that peace we're seeking.
Precisely. It's antithetical to peace. One source mentioned this idea of muck spreaders, which really resonates with biblical warnings against slander and bearing false witness.
Yeah.
But the delivery mechanism is so different now. In Paul's day, information was often filtered through trusted community leaders.
Right. There was a vetting process.
A vetting process. Today,
Yeah.
it's often disintermediated straight to you, no filter. It can be anonymous. And frankly, information is weaponized. It plays on our emotions, bypasses critical thinking.
So we can't just passively receive it anymore.
No way. Thinking on true things now demands active strategic engagement. You have to work for it.
Okay, so what does that work look like practically? for someone listening?
It means developing digital discernment is absolutely key. I was really struck by that Stanford University research.
Yeah, yeah.
It showed that even a little bit of formal training in digital literacy can basically double your effectiveness in spotting questionable websites and information.
Double. Wow. Okay, that's significant.
It is. So for us, trying to honor this command to pursue truth, it means adopting some core media literacy practices. I kind of see it as the modern way of taking every thought captive, like Paul talks about in 2 Corinthians. Okay, like what kind of practices?
Well, one really powerful one, highlighted by the Stanford Education Group, is called lateral reading.
Lateral reading. Okay, what's that?
So instead of just reading an article top to bottom on a site you don't know, you immediately open new browser tabs.
Ah, sideways.
Exactly. You go sideways. You investigate the source itself. Who runs this site? Who funds them? What's their reputation? It quickly exposes bias or lack of credibility. You step outside the article to learn about the article.
That makes so much sense. Instead of just getting sucked into the single narrative.
Right. You get context. Another key practice is click restraint.
Click restraint. Sounds like self-control.
It is. Before you reflexively click the top link in your search results, pause. Scan the entire page of results first.
Wow.
It gives you a broader view. You see if there's a consensus or if that top result is actually an outlier, maybe pushing a specific agenda. It stops you from just clicking the first thing that confirms what you already think.
Okay, resist the urge. Scan first. Got it. What else?
Then there's source interrogation. This is huge. It's about making it a habit to ask critical questions about anything you consume.
Okay, like what?
Who created this message and why? What's their motive? What techniques, maybe emotional ones, are they using to hold my attention? How might different people understand this? What viewpoints or values are represented? And maybe just as importantly, what's left out?
What's not being said?
Exactly. And why is this message being sent right now? Asking these questions shifts you from just passive consumption to active critical thinking.
That feels empowering, actually. Taking back some control.
It is. And finally, just basic bias awareness. Understand that no source is perfectly neutral. Everyone has a perspective, a leaning.
Right.
The goal isn't to find some mythical, unbiased source, but to identify the inherent leanings in what you consume. Tools like the All Sides Media Bias Chart or the Media Bias Fact Check website are incredibly helpful here. They let you see the reported bias of thousands of outlets. You can build a more balanced information diet, getting perspectives from different places.
Right, not just living in an echo chamber.
Precisely. These skills, these practices, they're like your armory in the fight for truth. And thankfully, we also have some excellent tools to help us verify things quickly.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, for factual claims, especially in politics, you've got great fact-checking organizations. Factcheck.org, run by the Annenberg Public Policy Center, is solid. PolitiFact, with its Truthometer, is another well-known one.
Okay, send those.
And for debunking internet rumors, urban legends, stuff you see on social media, Snopes is still a go-to resource.
Snopes, yeah, classic.
And it's not just text. For images and videos, you can use Google reverse image search. Upload an image, and it helps you find where it originally came from, its context. There are even more advanced tools compiled by groups like the International Journalist Network for verifying video.
Wow. Okay, so the tools are out there if we look for them.
They really are. We'll definitely link to all these in the show notes so you can check them out.
That's great. You know, thinking about this pursuit of truth, I find those stories, those films about journalists who really fight for it, so inspiring.
Me too. They really highlight the importance of it.
Like All the President's Men, the Watergate film from '76, or Spotlight from 2015 about the Boston Globe investigation.
Classics. Gold standards.
Right. They show the nitty-gritty, the often unglamorous, persistent work it takes to uncover corruption, to hold power accountable. It really elevates journalism as this force for justice.
Yeah, it shows the human effort involved in bringing truth to light.
And even the Post from 2017 about the Pentagon Papers. It champions that idea of journalism serving the governed, not the governors. That feels very aligned with a biblical concern for justice for the vulnerable.
Absolutely. And there are documentaries, too, like Reflections on Media Ethics, which features Noam Chomsky, exploring representation, manipulation, deeper ethical questions.
But there's the other side, too, right? The cautionary tales.
Oh, definitely. The film Shattered Glass from 2003 is a stark reminder. It dramatizes the true story of a journalist who fabricated dozens of articles.
Wow.
It just shows the devastating consequences, personally and professionally, when truth is abandoned. A powerful warning.
Okay. So anchoring ourselves in truth, using these practices, these tools, that's the essential foundation.
It really is. And
Yeah.
once you have that foundation, that stable ground, it equips you better to look up, to look around, and appreciate the next pillar whatsoever things are noble.
Noble. Okay, what does Paul mean by noble here? It sounds a bit lofty.
It does, maybe.
Huh.
The Greek word is semna, and it carries the sense of majesty, of being awe-inspiring, worthy of reverence, something that truly elevates the human spirit.
Okay.
Elevating. Yes. And think about how that contrasts with so much media culture today, which, as we said, often focuses on the base, the sordid, the scandalous.
Right, the opposite of elevating.
Exactly. So pursuing the semna, the noble, is about intentionally seeking out content that inspires admiration. Admiration for virtue, for courage, for self-sacrifice, even for the grandeur of God's character reflected in people and in the world.
So it's not just about feeling good, it's about character formation.
Precisely. It's about shaping your character. The stories we consume, they give us what you might call moral exemplars.
Moral exemplars.
Models of behavior, and those models can either degrade our moral imagination or elevate it. By focusing on the semna, we fill our minds with examples of what humanity can be, what we're called to be. It generates awe, even worship.
That's powerful. Where do we find these noble things?
Well, I think there are two main avenues. First, in media that showcases noble human character, people reflecting the imago Dei, the image of God.
Stories about people.
Right. And second, in media that reveals the nobility, the majesty of the natural world reflecting God's glory in creation.
So people and nature.
Exactly. A media diet that includes both offers a really holistic and profound experience of awe of the semna.
I like that holistic awe. Film seems like such a potent way to experience those human stories of nobility.
Oh, absolutely. Film carries immense moral weight when done well. Think about historical dramas based on true stories. They can be incredibly powerful sources of semna.
Like which ones?
Well, Schindler's List, obviously. 1993. The sheer courage to do right against overwhelming evil, saving over 1,000 lives, that film embodies semna. It's majestic, awe-inspiring. It deepens your reverence for human goodness potential.
Yeah, unforgettable.
Or The Pianist from 2002, maintaining humanity, hope in the horror of the Warsaw Ghetto. Or films like 12 Years a Slave, or even The Pursuit of Happiness, stories of enduring and overcoming immense suffering and injustice. They show nobility and resilience.
These are heavy but deeply moving examples. What about lighter fare? Can nobility be found there too?
Definitely. Even modern parables of heroism, like superhero films at their best, can tap into this. They often explore themes of self-sacrifice, responsibility, justice. Think about Black Panther from 2018. Critically acclaimed, right? It wasn't just action. It seriously explored leadership, tradition, global responsibility that has moral weight, a kind of nobility.
Yeah, it really did.
Or Wonder Woman from 2017. The narrative centered on love and self-sacrifice as the ultimate powers. That's aiming for something noble.
Okay. So nobility isn't just in historical suffering. It can be in aspirational stories too. What about books?
The written word. It offers a different kind of engagement, doesn't it? More sustained meditation on virtue.
Yeah, you live with it longer.
Exactly. Biographies and memoirs are just treasure troves of noble inspiration. You mentioned The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. What a testament to the human spirit, right?
Incredible resilience.
Her story just radiates semna, that strength in the face of unimaginable horror.
Right.
Or think about reading the lives of figures like Josephine Baker, the activist, or Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Their resilience, their intellectual rigor, their commitment to justice, these are lives worth contemplating.
Absolutely. Are there resources that kind of collect these stories?
There are. Books like Lawrence W. Reed's Real Heroes, inspiring true stories of courage, character, and conviction. It profiles 40 individuals who showed extraordinary moral fiber, kind of a compendium of courage.
Interesting.
And it's important for younger generations, too. There are great middle-grade books that foster character, like Varsha Bajaj's Count Me In, about standing up to hate crime, or Veera Hiranandani's The Night Diary, showing courage during India's partition, instilling that sense of nobility early on.
That's great. So human character.
All right.
What about the other side? Finding awe in creation.
Yes. This is huge for experiencing semna. Immersing yourself in really well-made nature documentaries can be honestly a profound form of worship.
Like watching Planet Earth.
Exactly. The BBC Natural History Unit is the gold standard, Planet Earth, and its sequels, The Blue Planet, exploring the oceans. The cinematography is groundbreaking. The scope is breathtaking. They just fill you with awe at the majesty and intricacy of creation.
They really do. They make you feel small, but in a good way.
In a good way. It generates that reverence, that semna, and it's accessible too. PBS Nature does award-winning work. Even YouTube channels like Free Documentary Nature have vast libraries of films on wildlife and extreme habitats.
So much beauty available to it.
So much. Again, we'll have links to some specific film, book, and documentary resources in the show notes for you to explore.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've covered truth and nobility. What's the third pillar?
The third pillar directs us to think on whatsoever things are just or right. The Greek word is dikaia.
Dikaia. Just or, yeah.
It refers to things that align with God's standards of righteousness, equity, right conduct, fairness, justice, things being as they should be.
And how does that contrast with the media landscape?
Well, again, think about what often gets glorified. Dysfunction, transgressions, cynicism about relationships or institutions. Media often seems to revel in brokenness.
Yeah, conflict drives drama.
Right. It does. But focusing on dikaia is a deliberate countercultural choice. It's about actively seeking out, celebrating, and maybe even learning from portrayals of moral integrity, healthy relationships, functional families, systems that work justly.
So looking for the good, the righteous, the things that are working.
Exactly. And this isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's actually an act of profound theological hope.
Hope. How so?
It's training your mind to see and rejoice in what theologians call common grace.
Common grace. Explain that a bit.
It's the idea that God's goodness and ordering principles are still at work in the world, sustaining things, enabling good things to happen, even outside of explicit faith context.
Ah, so seeing God's hand even in secular life.
Yes. When you consume stories that model, say, hardworking parents, loving fathers, devoted mothers, respectful kids, happy families, you're affirming God's design for human flourishing.
Yeah.
You're saying, this is good, this is right, this is worth pursuing.
I see. It builds resilience against despair.
Precisely. It inoculates your mind against the hopelessness that can come from only focusing on brokenness. It helps you see the positive expressions of dikaia.
That makes sense. Yeah. Are there good examples of this in media, like shows that actually portray functional families well?
Yeah.
Because dysfunction seems more common.
It often is, for dramatic effect. But yes, there are some really well-regarded shows that find both drama and comedy in loving, functional family dynamics. They offer a needed counter-narrative.
Like what?
Well, going back a bit, there was a show called Family from the late 70s. It was praised for its realistic, thoughtful depiction of an upper-middle-class family tackling real issues with gravity. Even the National Parent-Teacher Association commended it for good parenting lessons.
Huh. Interesting. More recently.
Modern Family, which ran for over a decade. It was hugely popular and celebrated for showing this large, diverse, blended family that was fundamentally bonded by deep affection and unwavering support. They disagreed, they had quirks, but the love and loyalty of the dikaia was the bedrock.
Yeah, you always felt they had each other's backs.
Exactly. Or, This Is Us, a massive hit. A very heartfelt, multi-generational story exploring marriage, adoption, grief, loss, but always circling back to the enduring power of love and family bonds.
Right. Very emotional, but ultimately affirming that family connection.
Yes, and sometimes righteousness emerges even from messy situations. Look at the current show, The Bear.
Oh, yeah. Intense show.
Super intense, chaotic restaurant environment, but critics praise its profound exploration of grief, healing past trauma, and the powerful bonds that form in this found family, united by shared purpose and eventually care for each other. It shows dikaia being forged in the fire, in a way.
Finding rightness even in the struggle.
Oh.
Like, what about other formats, like audio?
Podcasts have become an incredible resource for this, especially for mentorship in building godly, healthy relationships, which is a key aspect of dikaia.
Yeah, accessible advice.
Totally. If you're looking for expert guidance with a biblical foundation, there's the Art of Relationships podcast from Biola University, highly rated. The hosts, Dr. Chris and Elisa Grace, talk about communication, conflict resolution, servant leadership, really practical stuff grounded in Scripture.
That sounds useful.
Or if you're navigating difficult dynamics, maybe toxic relationships or codependency, there are podcasts like Difficult Relationships, Christian Wisdom for Life's Toughest. Again, highly rated, offering biblically based strategies for healing and setting healthy boundaries.
Specific help for tough situations.
Exactly. And many churches offer fantastic sermon series as podcasts. Bridgetown Church has their Love Eulogy series diving deep into love, marriage, sex, romance. Transformation Church's #relationship goal series with Pastor Michael Todd uses really wise, practical analogies.
Right, lots of churches put their teaching out there now.
And some users specifically recommended podcasts like Fierce Marriage or Love and Respect for strengthening marital bonds. So there's a wealth of audio mentorship available focused on building relationships characterized by Dikaya. We'll link some of these too.
That's a great set of resources for focusing on right. Okay, pillar number 4.
Number 4 is contemplating whatsoever things are pure. The Greek word is hagna.
Hagna. Pure. Okay, this one feels like it could be tricky. What does pure mean in this context?
Yeah, it can feel loaded. Hagna essentially means holy, chaste, free from moral defilement or ceremonial impurity. In a media context, this calls for conscious discernment.
Discernment about what specifically?
Particularly regarding content. Our media culture is often saturated with, let's be honest, gratuitous sexual content, graphic violence, profane language. Hagna calls us to be mindful of that.
So it's about avoidance.
It's about wise choices. The goal isn't a fear-based retreat from the world. It's about choosing wholesome content that aligns with your values, content that doesn't grieve the Holy Spirit or compromise your spiritual and psychological well-being.
Okay, wise choices, not just fear.
Right. Purification of the mind, not necessarily isolation from culture. This is obviously super important for parents trying to protect kids from inappropriate stuff.
Definitely.
But for adults, too. The mature approach here is often what you might call both hand.
Both hand.
Yeah, both utilizing the excellent resources within the faith-based media world for direct edification and safe family viewing, and using powerful discernment tools to engage thoughtfully with high-quality mainstream films or shows that tell important stories without being gratuitously impure.
Okay, so you don't have to throw out everything mainstream.
Not necessarily. It's about being equipped to make informed decisions. And thankfully, there are tools designed specifically for this. Well, services like dove.org. They offer faith and family-focused reviews. They have a unique rating system scoring content on specific things: sexuality, language, violence, drugs, nudity. Then they give an overall approval for different age groups. Very detailed.
Okay, dove.org. What else?
There's kidsinmind.com. Timey Magazine actually praised them for their objectivity. They give 3 separate number ratings, 0 to 10, for sex nudity, violence score, and language.
Well, specific ratings for each category.
Yes. And crucially, they provide detailed scene-by-scene descriptions of the relevant content without spoilers, so you know exactly what you're getting into.
Wow, that's very specific.
It really helps you make a truly informed choice based on your own sensitivities or what you want for your family. And then there's movieguide.org. They review films from an explicitly Christian perspective, evaluating artistic quality, but also the family content based on a biblical worldview. They even offer tips from their founder, Dr. Ted Baer, on raising media-wise kids.
So several tools to help navigate and find that Hagna content.
Exactly. They empower you to make value-aligned decisions. And beyond tools for mainstream content, there's also this whole parallel industry that's grown up.
You mean faith-based films and shows?
Precisely. An entire ecosystem dedicated to producing high-quality, inspirational entertainment that prioritizes these values.
Is the quality there now? Sometimes it felt a bit lower budget in the past.
The quality has improved dramatically. You have major players now. Affirm Films, for example, is actually a division of Sony Pictures.
Oh, really? Sony?
Yeah. They're an industry leader. Their mission is explicit. Quality entertainment that inspires, uplifts, challenges, and captivates, delivering wholesome and trusted entertainment. They've had huge box office successes, over $585 million worldwide, with films like War Room, Fireproof, Heaven is for Real, and the recent The Forge.
Wow. Okay, so it's commercially viable too.
Absolutely. And then you have the rise of dedicated streaming services.
Ah, like Netflix, but for faith content.
Kind of, yeah. UP Faith and Family is a leading one. Ad-free, lots of original series and movies, all billed as faith-affirming and family-friendly. Living Scriptures Plus has a huge library, over 5,000 titles, including popular Christian films, kids programming, documentaries, also ad-free and with kids profiles.
Options for different needs.
Definitely. Redeem TV is interesting. It's donor-supported, so it's free and ad-free, with a rotating selection of dramas, documentaries, animated features, Bible studies. And for kids specifically, services like Minnow and Yippee TV focus exclusively on wholesome Christian content, like classic VeggieTales or Bible Man.
So lots of alternatives if you're looking for content that deliberately aligns with Hagna.
A growing number, yes. It provides positive options, not just tools for filtering the mainstream.
Okay. Purity, Hagna. That brings us to number 5.
Number 5 is immersing ourselves in whatsoever things are lovely. The Greek word Paul uses is prosphily.
Prosphily, lovely. What's the sense of that word?
It means pleasing, amiable, winsome, attractive, things that are aesthetically beautiful, that delight the senses and the soul.
Ah, beauty. You mentioned earlier that desire to escape steel and concrete boxes. This sounds like the antidote.
Exactly. Paul is giving us a spiritual mandate here. Intentionally seek out aesthetic beauty. It's a powerful counter to the ugliness, the coarseness we often encounter. It refreshes the soul, and ultimately, it can turn our hearts towards God as the source of all true beauty.
So appreciating beauty is a spiritual practice.
Absolutely. And here's where we can reframe our relationship with technology again.
How so?
Those devices we carry, the screens in our homes, often seen as distractions, right?
Yeah, time sucks.
But we can intentionally redeem them, use them as tools for aesthetic grace. Think of your computer, your TV, your phone as portals.
Portals to what?
Portals to the world's greatest art, to the most sublime music, to stunning natural vistas. Technology can make experiencing beauty, experiencing prosphily, a daily accessible practice.
Okay, I like that idea, turning tech into a tool for beauty.
Well, take art. Finding art for the soul. It's never been easier to access masterpieces. Many world-class museums have put huge effort into their online presence.
Virtual museums.
Yes, the Louvre in Paris offers detailed virtual tours. You can digitally walk through galleries, zoom in on artworks. The National Gallery of Art in D.C. gives open access to over 60,000 high-res images. You can download them for free. MoMA in New York has over 100,000 modern works viewable online.
Wow, incredible access.
It is. You can curate your own personal gallery of beauty right on your screen. And for discovering contemporary art, sites like artsy.net are amazing hubs. They connect you with artists, galleries, museum shows worldwide. It makes art appreciation a potential daily habit, feeding your soul with prosphily.
That's amazing. What about natural beauty through tech?
Also very accessible, providing those immediate restorative glimpses of nature's splendor, like a mini digital Sabbath during a stressful day.
How?
Live webcams from scenic locations are fantastic for this. Glacier National Park, for instance, has multiple webcams showing Lake McDonald, snow-capped peaks, the Apgar Mountains.
Oh, I've seen those, like watching the ocean live.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or the live feeds from the Promenade des Anglais in Nice, France, looking out over the Mediterranean. Instant beauty, instant peace. A direct hit of prosphily.
Yeah, that does sound lovely. What about sound? Music?
Ah, music.
Yeah.
Perhaps the most immediate art form for shaping our inner atmosphere, our heart's disposition. Curating a soundtrack of lovely, spirit-lifting music is vital for this pillar.
So, playlists for the soul.
Pretty much. Major streaming services have really stepped up with curated Christian music hubs. Apple Music has Apple Christian with tons of playlists, Worship Today, Gospel Flow, Inspired Chill, even the Lofi Christian Essentials, something for every mood.
Lofi Christian Essentials, okay.
Right, AccuRadio offers dozens of free Christian channels, instrumental Christian, classic gospel hymns, today's worship, and YouTube is overflowing with nonstop worship playlists. Channels like Top Praise and Worship Songs offer hours of music from Hillsong, Elevation, Bethel music, perfect for background reflection, prayer, or just filling your home with beautiful, lovely sounds. Creating an atmosphere of prosphily.
Exactly. Immersing yourself in beauty through sight and sound. Again, we'll have links to museums, webcams, music platforms in the notes.
Wonderful. Okay, we've reached the final pillar, number 6.
The final directive is to think on whatsoever things are of good report. The Greek here is euphema.
Euphema. Good report. What does that encompass?
It means things that are well spoken of, reputable, commendable, praiseworthy, things that deserve positive recognition.
So focusing on the positive.
It's more specific than just positive thinking. It's a command to actively shift our focus away from the destructive towards the constructive, away from just diagnosing problems towards highlighting solutions, away from complaint towards praise and commendation.
Oh, okay. Constructive solutions oriented.
Yes, it's a discipline that cultivates hope and gratitude, pushing back against the cynicism and despair that can come from only hearing bad news.
And you mentioned earlier that this ancient idea has a modern counterpart.
It's truly remarkable. This 2,000-year-old spiritual instruction is finding powerful validation in a growing secular movement within journalism itself.
Which is?
It's called solutions journalism.
Solutions journalism. Go.
For decades, as we know, news often ran on that if it bleeds, it leads mentality.
Right. Focusing on the negative, the shocking.
Which definitely contributed to the negative media environment we're trying to counteract. Solutions journalism is emerging as this rigorous, evidence-based course correction.
How so?
It demonstrates, through research and practice, that focusing on constructive responses on things of good report isn't just naive or fluff. It actually improves individual well-being and community health. People feel are informed, less anxious, and more likely to engage civically when they also hear about potential solutions.
Wow, so focusing on euphema actually works, even from a secular perspective.
It does. It provides this credible, intellectually robust way for you to engage with news that feels both spiritually obedient, focusing on the praiseworthy, and civically responsible.
That's fascinating. Tell me more about solutions journalism. How is it defined?
The Solutions Journalism Network, SJN, which is the nonprofit really driving this, defines it as rigorous and compelling reporting about responses to social problems.
Rigorous and compelling. So it's not just happy news.
Not at all. It's distinguished from simple feel-good stories because it has to meet 4 key criteria.
Okay, what are they?
1, it focuses on a specific response to a social problem, not just the problem itself. 2, it provides insight. How does this response actually work? What can we learn from it?
Okay, response and insight.
3, it includes evidence, data, qualitative results, something that indicates the response is having some effect, positive or negative. And 4, it acknowledges limitations. It doesn't present the response as a silver bullet. It puts it in context, discusses challenges.
Response, insight, evidence, limitations. That sounds thorough.
It is. And this rigorous approach yields real results. SJN highlights examples like that Rwandan journalist story.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that.
Right, about the village kitchen fighting malnutrition. After UNICEF officials read that solutions-focused story, they actually increased funding for the program. The reporting made a tangible difference.
That's incredible, the power of focusing on what's working.
Exactly. Or a mentorship program in Turkey called Solution Sphere that helped journalists find hope and agency by focusing on solutions reporting. The goals of SJN itself, things like strengthen community efficacy, build trust, depolarize public discourse, they sound remarkably similar to the spiritual outcomes Paul was aiming for. Peace, constructive engagement.
It's a powerful parallel. Where can people find this kind of journalism?
SJN itself is the primary resource. They have the Solutions Story Tracker on their website. It's a searchable database with, I think, over 17,000 solution stories now from thousands of news outlets across nearly 100 countries.
Wow, a huge database.
Huge. But there are also dedicated platforms making it easier to get your daily dose of hope of euphema.
Like apps or websites?
Both. There's the Skirl News app. It's a nonprofit project that curates solutions-based stories from around the world, publishing a digest 3 times a week. The Optimist Daily is another platform focused specifically on publishing solutions, covering everything from climate innovation to personal well-being.
Okay, curated feeds of good news.
Well, solutions-based news, which is more rigorous. But yes, focusing on the constructive. Then you have dedicated positive news websites like the Good News Network, which has been around since 1997. They call themselves an antidote to the barrage of negativity and have a massive archive. Positive News is another, calling itself a magazine for good journalism about good things.
So they've been at this for a while.
Some have.
Mm-hmm.
And Reasons to be Cheerful, founded by musician David Byrne, focuses on stories that inspire curiosity about how the world can be better. Even some mainstream outlets are carving out space for this. CBS News has The Uplift. HuffPost has a good news section.
So it's becoming more mainstream too.
Slowly, yes. The resources are definitely growing for anyone wanting to intentionally incorporate euphema, things of good report, into their media diet. We'll link these apps and sites too.
Fantastic. So that's the 6 pillars. True, noble, right, pure, lovely, praiseworthy. We've explored what Paul meant and how we can apply it today. But there's a crucial next step, isn't there?
Absolutely. Paul doesn't just list these things and stop. He immediately follows up in verse 9.
Philippians 4.1, what does it say?
He says, "Those things which ye have both learned and received and heard and seen in me do, and the God of peace shall be with you."
Do. That's the key word.
That's the kicker. It shifts from what to think to what to do. The promise of God's peace isn't just linked to knowing these ideals. It's explicitly tied to the active, ongoing practice of dwelling on them, of doing these things.
So it's not enough to just agree with the list. We have to implement it.
Exactly. This whole framework moves from a philosophical concept to an actionable, life-altering discipline. The final essential step is building the sustainable habits that weave this media diet into the fabric of your daily life.
Okay, so how do we do this? How do we cultivate this new posture?
Well, the goal isn't a one-time drastic purge, though that might be a starting point for some. It's about cultivating a sustained, intentional, discerning posture towards all media.
Shifting from passive consumer to wise steward.
Beautifully put. From being passively shaped by algorithms optimized for outrage and addiction to becoming a wise steward of your own mind, your attention, your peace.
Okay, so practical steps. How do we, as you put it, hack your feed for holiness?
All right, let's make it really practical. 5 key steps you can take. First, audit and unfollow. Seriously, take some dedicated time. Scroll through your social media feeds, your news subscriptions, your podcast library. Ask yourself honestly, which sources consistently make me feel stressed, anxious, angry, inadequate, or cynical?
Be honest with yourself.
Be really honest. Once you identify them, make a decisive choice. Mute or unfollow. This isn't about censorship or sticking your head in the sand. It's an act of wise curation for your own mental and spiritual health. You're tending the garden of your mind.
Okay. Audit and prune. Step 2.
Step 2, actively follow positivity. That space you just created by unfollowing the negative. You need to intentionally fill it with sources aligned with the 6 pillars we just discussed.
Be proactive.
Be very proactive. Follow fact checkers, follow nature photographers whose work you find beautiful, follow museums, follow relationship experts who offer sound advice, follow those solutions-focused news outlets. Consciously change the digital air you breathe.
Okay. Replace the negative with the true, noble, right, pure, lovely, praiseworthy. Step 3.
Third, schedule and limit exposure. This fights the mindless, endless scroll. Try setting specific, limited times for checking news and social media. Maybe 20 minutes in the morning, 20 in the evening, whatever works for you.
Set boundaries.
Set boundaries and use technology to help. Use app timers on your phone, website blockers on your computer. Enforce those limits to create intentional space for other things. Prayer, reading scripture, exercise, connecting with people in person, engaging with beauty.
Reclaim that time.
Okay.
Number 4.
Fourth, engage actively, not passively. How you interact matters. Don't just be a passive consumer scrolling by. When you see content that resonates, that's uplifting, true, noble, engage with it.
Wow.
Leave a thoughtful, positive comment. Share an inspiring story with your own network. Maybe even contribute your own constructive content. This active engagement fosters a sense of community around positive things and actually reinforces the positive neural pathways in your brain associated with that content.
So participation reinforces the good. Makes sense? And the last step.
Finally, number 5, reflect and adapt. This whole process isn't static, it's dynamic because the media landscape is always changing, and so are your needs.
Check in with yourself.
Regularly. Take time, maybe weekly, to reflect. How is my current media diet affecting my thoughts, my emotions, my spirit? Am I feeling more peace or more agitated? Keeping a simple journal can be really helpful here. Track your moods, notice patterns related to your media use.
And then adjust.
And then adjust. Be flexible. Maybe a source that seemed okay starts to drift. Maybe you discover a wonderful new resource. This is ongoing stewardship requiring regular attention and adaptation.
Audit, follow, limit, engage, reflect. That's a really clear roadmap.
The goal is to make it sustainable. Because ultimately, this Philippians 4.8 media diet, it's not the end goal itself.
Right. It's a means to an end.
Exactly. It's the means by which we cultivate a soul prepared to receive and, importantly, abide in the peace of God, which passeth all understanding.
That peace again.
That peace. By disciplining our minds, and it is a discipline to dwell on what is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and praiseworthy, we are actively creating the internal conditions for spiritual flourishing. We're partnering with the Holy Spirit in that process Paul calls the renewal of our minds.
So it's an active participation in our own spiritual growth.
Absolutely. And this disciplined practice, done consistently, starts to systematically replace that background noise of fear, anxiety, cynicism with something far more profound and durable. The deep peace that comes only from having your mind stayed on God and His goodness, reflected in all these different facets.
Wow. What a journey we've taken today, really unpacking those 6 pillars. We've gone from the reality of media overwhelm to a really practical, hopeful framework, focusing on the true, the noble, the right, the pure, the lovely, and the praiseworthy.
And hopefully provided some really actionable steps, some concrete tools for transforming media use from a passive habit into this active practice of mental stewardship.
Yeah. The potential here feels significant. not just changing what you watch or read, but actually changing your inner world, right?
Yeah.
Your overall sense of peace.
That's the transformative promise. Absolutely. It's available. It takes intention, it takes practice, but it's available to you.
So here's maybe a final thought to leave you with, something to mull over.
Yeah.
How might intentionally shaping what we feed our minds, our mental diet, how might that reshape not just our own inner world, but maybe even our capacity to be a positive influence outwardly? Could we, by focusing on these things, become people who are themselves sources of truth, nobility, righteousness, purity, loveliness, and good report in the world around us?
That's a powerful thought, from inner transformation to outward influence.
Yeah, something to consider.
Yeah.
We really encourage you to revisit this deep dive, maybe focus on one pillar at a time, and definitely explore the resources we talked about.
Yes. Please check out the show notes. We've linked everything we mentioned, the tools, the websites, the apps, the examples. They're all there to help you begin or continue your own journey of mental stewardship and finding that deeper peace.